facing a massive double-digit deficit with women voters on a scale that threatens to sink any chance of Donald Trump and Republican candidates all across the country in November. The ex-president and his MAGA allies are reminding us just why that gender gap exists in the first place. Statements that reveal over and over and over again their utter disdain and disregard for freedoms and views held by countless numbers of women in this country. Case in point, the disgraced, 4 times indicted, twice impeached, liable for sexual abuse ex-president turned in a gaslighting performance for the ages at a rally last night.
I am your protector. I want to be your protector. As president, I have to be your protector. I hope you don't make too much of it. I hope the fake news doesn't go, oh, he wants to be their protector. Well, I am. As president, I have to be your protector. You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared. You will no longer be in danger. You're not going to be in danger any longer. You will no longer have anxiety from all of the problems our country has today. You will be protected, and I will be your protector. Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. You will no longer be thinking about abortion.
Never mind that he's the reason women have lost access to reproductive health care. And he's damn proud of that fact. 3 justices he handpicked formed the majority on the Supreme Court that overturned Roe versus Wade, allowing for draconian bans to be ushered in all across our country. And then on the debate stage, with more than 67 million people watching, Donald Trump dodged on whether he'd veto a national abortion ban if it wound up on his desk, should he be elected again. Despite all that, according to one MAGA candidate, it's us. We're the problem. The women who are, quote, crazy for worrying about all this silly stuff anyway, abortion rights. Here's Ohio Senate candidate Bernie Moreno.
You know, the left has a lot of single-issue voters. Sadly, by the way, there's a lot of suburban women. A lot of suburban women that are like, listen, abortion's it. If I can't have an abortion in this country whenever I want, I will vote for anybody else. Okay, a little crazy, by the way, but especially for women that are like past 50, I'm thinking to myself, that's an issue for you. Oh, thank God my wife didn't hear that one.
Yes, we women over 50 lose our ability to grieve the senseless death of mothers in Georgia who die because of the Trump abortion ban spreading across the country. Just happens. We turn 50 and poof. As my friend and colleague Rachel Maddow put it last night, unfortunately for that guy, his name's Mr. Moreno, women over 50 still have the right to vote, even if he doesn't think we have a right to an opinion. What this all amounts to, though, is an incredible reveal, right? Shows us what Trump and his Republican Party really think about us, about women, our place in American life and in American politics. As a Bulwark puts it today, quote, in Moreno's world and Trump's, men act in their self-interest and women are not to think for themselves. Fortunately, American women aren't listening to MAGA men. One has to be impressed by the good sense and self-confidence of today's American women. Now, if only a few more American men had the good sense and self-confidence to listen to American women. Donald Trump and the MAGA movement showing all of us exactly who they are and where they see women, our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, in America in the year 2024 is where we start. Former Senator, host of MSNBC's How to Win 2024 podcast, Claire McCaskill, is back with us. Also back, President of Reproductive Freedom for All, Mini Tamaraju, and the Executive Director of Republican Voters Against Trump, the publisher of the Bulwark, Sarah Longwell's here. Sarah, what is the state of sort of the, not just the female vote for Trump, but these issues driving the men who love the female voters in a way that could be significant in November?
Yeah, you know, I got to say, first of all, the gap that is opening up in terms of gender is more or less like nothing we've ever seen before. I mean, women are breaking hard for Kamala Harris. Obviously, Trump is doing better with men. I think when we look back on this election, the big story is going to be the gender polarization. But what is interesting about the Moreno comments is this idea that the reason that women are breaking disproportionately for Kamala Harris is just because of abortion. That is wrong. Women care very much about the economy. They care about crime. They care about immigration. They care about all the same issues that that men do. I think what's happening, though, is that the Republican Party, and Donald Trump specifically, has a strategy of trying to run up the numbers with men. That is why he picked J.D. Vance as his running mate. And in doing so, though, they don't just try to appeal to men. They are running a campaign that is actively alienating to women. It is not just about policy issues. It is about the way that J.D. Vance attacks childless cat ladies, which, by the way, in all of my focus groups, that has broken through. But that's not even as pernicious as the things that he says, like if women are with somebody who is abusive, they should stay with that man, right? We hear things like that from the vice presidential candidate. As you point out, Trump is an adjudicated rapist and has always been misogynistic. You've got candidates like Mark Robinson down in North Carolina, who says that he is avowedly pro-life, committed pro-life, except for the abortion that he paid for he and his wife back in the day, not to mention all of the other issues that he has, calling himself a black Nazi, pornography. I mean, just this, Dana White from the UFC, who had just been caught on camera hitting his wife, was featured, introduced Donald Trump at the Republican National Convention. I mean, the list goes on in terms of the way that this Republican Party creates a sense that women don't have a place in that coalition. And so for Donald Trump to treat them like the I am your protector is a particular form of gaslighting. It's almost like somebody who is an abuser, the way that they would then talk to the abused to try to keep them sort of encircled or ensnared by them. But based on the poll numbers and his dismal poll numbers with women, women are not falling for it.
You know, Sarah, I went and read the Sean Combs indictment today because I made this argument yesterday that when we look back, the story will be the enablers, right? The apparatus. And the Epstein story, right, is about an insane, sadistic man. But the story now that is covered is about the apparatus, the enablers who knew. The Combs indictment and the idea to charge a conspiracy and everyone aware and the people that procured the items is just legally fascinating to me. I'm not a lawyer. I mean, I didn't survive on The View because I didn't really know who any of these people were. But the way the law is charging conspirators, to me, is so fascinating if our politics can start to recognize political enablers, right, an apparatus. And what feels to me to be catching up with Trump is grab women between the legs, the 19 women that accused Trump. All this was information that was available in 2016. And for Trump, instead of doing things to ameliorate the perception that he's a misogynist and an unapologetic one, an adjudicated sexual abuser and defamer of E. Jean Carroll, he defames her again after a jury of her peers finds him liable for that. Instead of moving to the center on abortion, which a lot of Trump supporters thought he would do. He's proud of his decision. And today's news on that front is that he's going to prosecute and jail anyone who criticizes those judges. No one has threatened judges more often than Donald Trump, but he's going to come after anyone who threatens the judges who decided Roe. And I wonder where there's sort of been narrative affirmation for the record, the years and the record of the public statements that start on Access Hollywood in terms of his political life, and that seemed to culminate in this gaslighting last night, as you said, the language of an abuser. I alone can protect you.
Well, this idea of the apparatus, I'm so glad you brought it up, because here's the thing. I've always believed this, that courage is contagious, right? Doing the right thing, speaking out against Trump, that's contagious, and that's how you build a permission structure. But you can also build a negative permission structure because cowardice is also contagious. And this is the story of the last decade of the Republican Party. When Donald Trump, that Access Hollywood tape and the way that people handled that it should be studied forever, because this was a
Yes.
case of in the immediacy of it. I remember Paul Ryan saying, well, I'm not going to appear with this guy. You know, Republicans ran from him quickly. They began pulling their endorsements from him. And then you know what they did over time when he refused to apologize or back down, just said it was locker room talk? They came back to him. And the story of the last, now getting close to a decade, is a story of Donald Trump doing the most repugnant, morally horrible things, and for Republicans time and time causing an insurrection, getting all of these felony counts, all of it. Republicans time and time again have chosen the cowardice permission structure and said, we're going to go back to Trump. And as a result, everybody has decided now, none of this stuff matters. But again, I go back to looking at the way that women are running from this campaign with everything they have. It does make me hope. My most fervent hope is that Donald Trump loses this election and that he does it because women turn out in droves to vote against him, including center-right women, because that is just the kind of justice that Donald Trump deserves.